Hello and welcome to the Forged and Fire review of Game Week 6 video and preview to Game Week 7. Um, this was the blank game week for Forge and Cavalry. I know I've talked about that a lot, and it started looking really promising and then ended up kind of being anticlimactic. Once teams locked an hour before kickoff of the which game's that? The Edmonton versus York 9 game, I took a look at some of the other squads to see if people prepared the same way I did, got a bunch of the Cavalry and Forge players out of their squad, and had a full starting 11. And even looking right from the top, like there was a bunch of blank spots basically that they either had Forge players in or Cavalry, and they weren't going to get subbed out. And I thought, wow, this is going to be a great opportunity to make up some space, to climb some ranks, and just the games were so anticlimactic. 4 goals in 3 games. Aparicio, I think, was the highest profile name to score. Other than that, who was it? Was it VT Martinez, I think, or something like that scored for Ottawa yesterday. Aparicio scored for York. That was the only goal in that game. And then Bent's kind of, I guess, more of a high profile name for Halifax, but then their defender scored as well on a free kick. So not a lot of expected points, I'd say, going around. Um, we'll start going through the team as to what happened. I started out not being so Pantemis as far as Valor, keepers and defense go. A lot of people have 2 of them between Pantemis, Baptiste, and Dunn. So most people have 2, some people have 3. So I knew getting scored on for them wasn't going to hurt a whole lot, because again, that's affecting a lot of people. But a Jean-Baptiste injury kind of sucks. Thing is, with a lot of people having him, and it looks like not a lot of people are changing their squad over, so a lot of people might keep him, and 1, might not play, 2, they might get knocked out with a big loss for Valor against Halifax, giving them a hard time to still get into the top 4. But yeah, so that was kind of crappy. Pantemis has, since he came into my squad, hasn't really done much. He's just like got playing points. I guess he got a save point yesterday because he should be at -1, having let in 2 goals to Halifax, but getting 3 saves bumped him up to 2 again. Thompson has probably been my favorite player on York. Maybe I'm pretty sure, but like consistently throughout the season, he's been getting clean sheets. Aside from the one marking mistake on McNaughton in the one game, which cost a few points, he's been really great. He actually liked one of my Instagram posts on the CanFPL_Forged and Fire account. If you haven't seen it, please go and give it a follow. I'm trying to do following. Also with this YouTube, if you really appreciate any subscriptions, and trying to build this up. I don't have a whole ton of time before the season's done. It'll be a while till the next one starts, but I'd like to have a little base foundation. So any support on either this YouTube channel, the Instagram page, or the Twitter account, that would be much appreciated. Anyway, back to what really matters. And then I thought at least out of everything I was going to be getting a clean sheet with McNaughton, and 90th minute goal for Ottawa, huge, shakes everything up as far as both fantasy and the actual island games are concerned. So that was crazy and took away a lot of points from me there. So going aside from Thompson, not a great week defensively. Going into the midfield, Aparicio, another stunning free kick. That was my highlight of. It's literally been my highlight the last 2 weeks. Is Aparicio taking free kicks from just outside the 18. They've been stellar. They've been getting me a lot of points. Just my only issue is I haven't been captaining them. And but yeah, I have no complaints there. And even though they're facing Cavalry, I think I'm going to give him a start, just because you never know if they get that free kick close to goal. He's deadly. A really annoying thing that I probably should have held off my transfers another day to figure, because I would have figured this out, but DiChiara was suspended with a yellow card that I guess wasn't recorded to the public, but was found in a referee's match book or whatever. So DiChiara had a 4th yellow card, meaning he was suspended for this match. Now, a lot of people had him, so a lot of people lost that spot. Once I heard it, I just put in Chance Carter, which is why you see him in there. I've had him since the start, kind of just as a placeholder. And I mean, he got subbed in, just past halfway for 1 point. And I guess 1 point's better than none if people still had Kira sitting there with 0 points. And then Acuna had his cover in case he did anything. Not only did he not really do anything, they got the clean sheet for Ottawa, but he got a yellow card as well. The only thing was first place had him as captain, so he got even a less return for him. But geez, the Pacific, like, they were all over Ottawa, I found, for most of that game. Like Blasco and Bustos, they looked so dead. Even McNaughton, they looked so deadly going forward, cutting across the box. Bustos has, I think, the best footwork in the league, like just taking on defenders but not really getting a clear shot. And I thought for sure at some point something was going to happen. Maybe even one of them assists the other. And I just wanted that so Bustos could get those double points as my captain. And what does he do? Not only not score, but picks up a yellow card at the end. And just Blasco got a yellow card too. A lot of bookings in that game. And it just was like very defeating there. That was supposed to be the game that's going to help me get close to that top, but I think I'm still over 30 points off of first. I did move up 7 spots, by the way, from the previous week. I went from 20 to 13th now, so I'm pushing that top 10, which I did find myself in at 1 point during the week. But it's just little frustrations like that. It's hard to come about points, like you're getting goals from people that, like, really no one has. But still, like, I think the person in second right now, I think is just like an Atletico Ottawa fan and had the keeper and a defender and Fisk captain. So he got a bunch of points there that probably not a lot of people got, which is why he's in second now. But yeah, it's just been hard to predict where the production's coming from. Garcia, again, they got Halifax got 2 goals. Garcia wasn't part of any of them. Garcia did draw the free kick that led to the goal by I don't know how to pronounce the guy's last name. It's Dis something. But unfortunately, as far as Canadian Premier League fantasy goes, that's not an assist. If other places you might find it to be, but not here, which is fine because it's been consistent the way that they've been running it, so no problem there. It's just unfortunate. And then Angara Edmonton is just trash. Like, what a bad year for them. Coach might be out. I wouldn't be surprised. Players not performing to what they should be, I'd say. And that'll be my team to pick on going into the final game weeks. Again, nothing to play for there. But that's kind of cool, just as a CPL fans. Take that. We're going to have 7 teams going into the final week where they could potentially be in. It matters for them, which you watch in Europe, and normally, like, for instance, Liverpool this year had the league wrapped up with most of, with almost, I don't know, like a quarter of the season to go. Juve had things wrapped up with a couple weeks to go. Bayern did. Like, you see a lot of weeks not mattering at the end of seasons, aside from Champions League positions and stuff in Europe. But here we're going for a title, and there's 7 teams that still have that availability to grab it. So I think that's pretty cool as a league and as a CPL fan in general. And going to the bench, pretty self-explanatory. Dikira suspended. Farsi and Boskovic had a blank game week, and so was never going to see the field unless something happens to their other keepers. Okay, so that's how that week went. I finished with 28 points, a new lowest. It's kind of skewed, yes, it's a new lowest, but at the same time, it's one less game. If I had another one where I could put Forge players in, I probably would have been above. A lot of people got less than 28 this week, so I did make up some ground on some people, but it's not as much as I was hoping for with all the preparation I put into this week. Going to this week now, looking at the transfers. So now, a lot of my planning before was planning for this game week 6, getting Forge and Cavalry players out in time, so I had a full 11 for this week. Now it's going to be about not only getting them back, but getting rid of players that are out. So an easy 2 to pick to get rid of this week was Chance Carter and Ungaro, who are both at Edmonton, so they're mathematically out. I would only have them for this one game week anyway. And there's no point. They've been doing bad. So I got them out, and another player I got out was Jean-Baptiste. Valor's probably the one that's going to have the hardest time getting into the Final Four still, and he's injured. So again, a pretty easy pick to get rid of. The more challenging part was thinking of who to bring in. We got our scenarios with Forge probably being the most likely uh, to make it. They were saying on Coast to Coast After that they're not guaranteed yet. I don't know how because Valor can't pass them. Uh, Edmonton can't pass them, and the two teams that can tie them on points are Pacific and Ottawa, and Forge has beaten both of them, so they'd have the head-to-head. So I don't understand how they're not guaranteed the next round. Not guaranteed first, but not guaranteed the next round. Anyway, so I'm starting to bring Forge back. Looking at the fixtures, I'm trying to kind of predict who's going to go through. With Pacific facing Edmonton, I think Pacific will go through, so I wasn't looking to get rid of them. Now, the really interesting part is Cavalry and York 9, because I have a lot of their players and a lot of people would project them both to go through. But if you look at it in the tie-breaking rules, as if Forge win, which I'd say is likely, I mean, it's their last game. If they're not completely guaranteed, then like I think they'll be pushing for it for sure to win that game. I know Valor will be as well though, but I think Forge will for sure be through. If Pacific beats Edmonton, and I think a lot of people would say Halifax would be Ottawa, but that's probably the game that's up in the air right now. But if Halifax wins, then we have Cavalry and the York 9 game. At this point, if there was a draw in that game, Cavalry would be tied on points with Pacific. Halifax and Forge would be higher than them. And then I think I forget what would happen to you. Are they tied on points? I don't know. Anyway, but I think at that point Cavalry will go down based on the head-to-head of losing to Pacific, and then vice versa. I think would happen for York 9. So I think the danger game is one of York 9 or Cavalry might not make it, which would be huge because those are two teams that mostly everyone projected would make it coming into the season. So yeah, and then what happened? I think Pacific. What happened with them? I don't know. They tied York 9, so maybe something could happen with them. I don't know how that'll work. But anyway, trying to predict who's going to be in that next round is really challenging right now. You know Edmonton's not going to be there. You'd think Atletico Ottawa wouldn't be there, but they still have a chance. So it's all very complicated there because if Atletico Ottawa win, they also have the head-to-head on Cavalry, and they'd be tied on points too with a draw. So Cavalry really needs this win against York 9, and York 9's undefeated. Anyway, going back to the fantasy stuff. Sorry for that little tangent. Just trying to say what I'm thinking of getting rid of players that are out. But that'll kind of be determined by this next game. I'm hoping Pacific wins because I have 3 other players that I wouldn't have to move out. I know Forge won't be there. I didn't move Pantemis this week. Pantemis is going to play because Man has to start for Forge, and I want to bring Henry back in. So Henry will be back in next week. Pantemis is going to start. With Valor being defensive and Forge probably going to control most of the game, you're probably going to see a lot of shots on Pantemis, even if he lets one in. Hopefully I get some save points as well. I brought Mavilla in. So yeah, the players I brought in were Mavilla, Sabak, and Novak. Mavilla's still top point scorer, and he can... I don't necessarily think that York 9 is going to be shut out by Cavalry, but the 2 Cavalry players that I have in are offensive as well. Farsi's been playing higher up. Mavilla has been taking penalties and getting higher up. So I'm not necessarily having the man there for the clean sheet. If they get it, great. But I'm hoping for attacking returns out of them too. And McNaughton's been pretty solid so far. Aside, really unlucky with letting that goal in against Ottawa there. He almost had me another clean sheet. But I've liked the way he's looked so far. Then I got Sabakin. He was consistent, at least getting an assist every time he was in for me. Aparicio has been on a hot streak, so I want him in there to cover in case York 9 gets another free kick. And Blasco, facing a weak Edmonton team, I need to have him in as well. Then we got Acuna, who I'm keeping. I might end up having to get rid of them if Otto doesn't go through, but Facing a Halifax team, he might have some goal production in him in that game, maybe an assist, and to cover in case other people have him too. Then we have Novak up front. I gave up on Babuli, which means obviously Babuli is going to start the next game you watch. But he should at least get subbed in, even if that happens. And I want to get Forge players back into my lineup. Then we got Bustos with the captain again. He looked so hungry for goals last time. I just can't not start him again or captain him against Edmonton. And then we have Garcia again, another player that I might have to get rid of if they don't make it to the next round. I've been kind of disappointed. He was doing really good right up until I got him. Story of my life. But facing Ottawa, he has a chance for goals there, I guess, just like he did against Edmonton. And we'll see. Zaval looked really good for the first. I criticized him talking with my friend at the start of the game, and then he went and got a clean sheet with some big saves. So we'll see if Garcia can break through next game. Sitting on the bench, really regretting that DiChiara transfer in. I would have liked to use that on someone else, but just because they are playing Cavalry, the only reason I'm playing Aparicio is because he's been in good form, and he can show on set pieces that he's going to do some damage. DiChiara I'm not starting. A lot of people do have him, so I'm hoping that he doesn't do well, because if he does do well, I'm going to be missing out on some big points unless someone on my team doesn't play at all. Boskovic on the bench. Again, I don't think necessarily Cavalry has the clean sheet. My Cavalry defenders are in there for attacking returns more so than clean sheet, so I'm sitting Boskovic because he normally doesn't get us forward. And Thompson, who's been doing really good, but I think Cavalry will score. And of course, Obrazemo back there as well. But yeah, that's how things are shaking up right now. Oh, sorry, one more thing I wanted to highlight, which I don't know if this is the first week it's happened or I just haven't realized yet. But if you go to the transfer market, 1 second, you'll actually see when looking at players, they have, and they said this going in, but they have made some adjustments to prices now, going up like 5 to 10K for some players. So just something to be mindful of when you're picking up players. You might have a 50K player in and want to bring in a former 50K player, but they might actually be more expensive now if you look at it. So just something to be mindful of. You might not be able to afford some players that you thought you would be able to, or you might have just made yourself more cap space. Like I thought I'd have 0 based on the transfers that I made, and now I'm at +5, which just is good in case I want to bring in someone a little more expensive than I might normally be able to. But yeah, I'm here sitting in 13th overall, second in the Forged supporters group, and I hope you're enjoying this. Please support the channel and the pages if you can. If there's anything you want to hear, any other kind of videos, if you want, please comment, tell me what you think if you disagree with anything. I'd love to have some kind of dialogue with the people that watch these. And yeah, thanks again for watching, and I hope to talk to you soon. I think I'm going to make a video after this game week about a team that I'd make if I was starting fresh and didn't only have 3 transfers. Who knows, Canadian Premier League Fantasy might do that for us and give us a wild card, but just an extra video in there, as well as the normal one. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.